So induction machine is over. So in induction machine, it is a 4U class as a revision class. So in the construction, so firstly in induction machine, the topic number one is a construction. In construction, we see that stator. So under stator, there is a stator frame. In a stator frame, so here, so important topic about stator frame is that it is made up of cast iron or cast steel. And the one more important about stator frame is, and a stator frame does not carry any flux. So stator frame is not laminated. So after that stator frame, there is a stator core. Here stator core is made up of silicon steel material, and in the stator core, inner periphery slots are placed. In slots, open slot, semi-open slot, closed slots are there. In semi-open slot gives the partial advantage of open slot, and closed slot. It gives the partial advantage of open and closed slot. If you go for open slot, in open slot, magnetizing current is more, and open slot, magnetizing current more, air gap is more, torque is more, and power factor is less. In a closed slot, air gap is very less, magnetizing current is less, torque is less, and power factor is more. Power factor is more. And in open slot, leakage flux is less and mutual flux is more. In a closed slot, leakage flux is more and mutual flux is less. So here in the induction machine, semi-open slots are used because the semi-open slot gives the partial advantage of open and closed slot. In a open slot, in a semi-closed slot, there is a armature winding is placed. The armature winding is two type again, concentrated and distributed type. So in that concentrated and distributed type, the distributed windings are used, and the distributed winding are two type again, full pitch and short pitch type. So in the full pitch and short pitch, the short pitch windings are used, and short pitch again two types, integral slot and fractional slot. So in that fractional slots are used. So here the distributed short pitch fractional slot windings are used. So this distributed short pitch fractional order winding, so this winding gives the more sinusoidal wave and less harmonics than concentrated full pitch integral slot winding. So in a distributed winding, the harmonics are less and waveform is more sinusoidal, so armature windings are distributed windings. So coming to the rotor, rotors are two type, one is squirrel cage and slip ring type rotors. In a squirrel cage rotor, there is a problem that rotor resistance is less. Because of rotor resistance is less, so rot- rotor resistance is less, there is a three disadvantages. One is a high current, and second one is low torque, and third one is lower power factor. So to overcome these three problems, skewed rotor method is, we go for skewed rotor and double cage rotor. So in a skewed rotor method, the bars are inclined so that effective length of resistance copper bar is more, then resistance is more, so the starting currents are less, and starting torque and power factors are more. So in a skewed rotor method, cogging and crawling effects are eliminated, and by skewed rotor method also the torque increase is very less. So we go for another method, that is called double cage rotor. A skewed rotor and double cage rotor is a modified structure of squirrel cage rotor. So in a double cage rotor, it has two cages. One is inner cage and outer cage. So inner cage and outer cage, under outer cage area is less and inner cage area is more. So an outer cage area is less because of area is less. When the area is less, resistance is more, and resistance is more and reactance is less for the outer cage, and a resistance is more and reactance is very less in outer cage. Here important question is, in a double cage rotor, the outer cage and inner cage are connected in parallel. Outer cage and inner cage are connected in parallel. So in the inner cage, the area of inner cage is less than outer cage. So in the inner cage area is less, so resistance value is, inner cage area is more, so the resistance value is less. Inner cage area is less, so the resistance value is more. So in inner cage offers the highest impedance at starting, so the current flows from outer cage at starting condition, and in a running condition outer cage offers the highest impedance, so the current flows from inner cage. And now, so the effective increasing in resistance is in skewed rotor and double cage rotor is comparatively less. So to get a higher torque, we go for slip ring induction machine. In a slip ring induction machine, because of external resistance, the rotor winding is connected to the external resistance, then due to external resistance, the torque developed is more. So torque developed is more by the slip ring induction machines. So at higher starting torque, slip ring induction machines are used, and here double cage rotor gives the more starting torque than skewed rotor, and skewed rotor gives the more torque than squirrel cage normal rotor. So after that, working of induction machine. Here is the important is, in a working of induction machine there is a rotating magnetic field has to be developed. Rotating magnetic field, to develop rotating magnetic field, space angle and time angle must be nearly equal and must not be zero. That means space angle and time angle must not be 0 degrees. So if that time angle and space angles are equal, then there is a uniform flux produced, that uniform torque developed in the air gap. Uniform torque developed in the air gap. If space angle and time angles are not equal, that means slightly different, then also the torque will be produced, but it is a non-uniform torque produced. Like in a single phase induction machine, the torque developed is non-uniform. Okay, and one more. So rotating magnetic field developed. The rotating magnetic field magnitude depends upon number of phases. The rotating magnetic field magnitude depends upon number of phases. Number of phases by 2 into pi m. If number of phases are 3, then 3 by 2 pi m. Okay, and uh, rotating magnetic field speed depends upon frequency. It is directly proportional to frequency and inversely proportional to poles. Once rotating magnetic field rotates in the air gap and cuts rotor bars and EMF induced in the rotor bar. And if rotor bars are short circuited, then current produced. That current, due to current, because of current in the machine, current in the rotor bars, the current carrying conductors. The rotor bars are now current carrying conductors. The current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, it experiences a force. So that force F equal to BAL sin theta. So BAL sin theta. The force act in the direction of rotor rotation. It is to satisfy the Lenz's law. So if NR equal to NS, then flux cutting by the copper bars are 0. Flux cutting is 0. EMF in the copper bars are 0. Current in the copper bar is 0. And torque is 0. Torque is 0. So after working of induction machine, slips S equal to Ns minus Nr by Ns, and slip speed Sns equal to Ns minus Nr, and Ns equal to 120 by 3. And after that there is a rotor parameters. So the rotor parameters are different at standstill condition and running condition, but starter parameters are same at starting and running condition. Because of rotor frequencies are various at starting and running condition, so the rotor parameters are various. Rotor parameters are various. Rotor parameters varies from standstill condition to running condition. So under standstill condition, rotor frequency is equal to stator frequency. The rotor frequency and stator frequency is same. But under running condition, rotor frequency and stator frequency is not same, because rotor frequency is slip times of the stator frequency, and rotor resistance at standstill condition, running condition is same, and rotor reactance at standstill condition x2 and the running condition sx2, and rotor impedance R2 plus jx2 at standstill condition, running condition R2 plus jsx2, and rotor induced EMF E2R at standstill condition and E2R equal to SE2 under running condition. So here the important thing is rotor frequency is very important, that standstill condition rotor frequency equal to stator frequency, and running condition rotor frequency equal to slip times of stator frequency. So under running condition the frequencies are very less, it is in the order of 1 to 5 Hz, and under starting condition the rotor frequency is high. So because the iron loss in the rotor depends upon the frequency, so the frequency in the rotor is at starting is higher, so iron loss in the rotor at starting exists, but under running condition the rotor, because of rotor frequency is very less, it is from 1.5 to 3 Hz, so the rotor iron loss are negligible losses. So the rotor iron loss are negligible losses. Next, after rotor parameters, there is a equivalent circuit. So in the equivalent circuit of induction machine, so the equivalent circuit of induction machine and equivalent circuit of transformer secondaries are similar at standstill condition. So the equivalent circuit of transformer secondary and equivalent circuit of induction machine rotor at standstill condition is equal. So R2 by S, R2 by S. So in equivalent circuit there is a RL is the RL is the electrical equivalent of mechanical circuit, mechanical load. So RL equal to R2 by S into RL equal to R2 into 1 minus S, 1 minus 1 by S. RL equal to R2 into 1 by S minus 1. 1 by S minus 1. So after that equivalent circuit, there is a power flow diagram. In a power flow diagram, the P1 is a rotor stator input. So this P1 is line to line RMS voltage. P1 equal to root 3 VLIL cos pi. So whenever P1 input is given to the stator, so then there is some power is wasted in the stator. That power is called the stator losses, and the remaining power output to the stator, that is called stator output. So the stator output power is the input to the rotor. Stator output power is input to the rotor. In the rotor, the power is wasted in the form of copper losses. In rotor, there is no iron losses in the, and after that the power is sent to the shaft. So the gross mechanical power developed by the rotor PM. The PM is rotor output and PM is input of shaft. After that, that power is PM power is available at shaft. That shaft is input power. So in that some power is wasted in the manner of mechanical losses and mechanical losses, and after that remaining power is sent at available at shaft, that is P out, available at shaft, that is output power. So after power flow diagram, there is a torque equation. In a torque equation, we should remember that in a motor there is a two torques are act in the motor. One is a electromagnetic torque and another one is a load torque. In a motor, electromagnetic torque TEM, the electromagnetic torque act in the direction of rotor rotation, and load torque is act in the opposite direction. If electromagnetic torque is equal to the load torque, then machine is operating at a stable region. Electromagnetic torque is equal to load torque, then motor is operating at a stable region. And in generator, there is two torque. One is the electromagnetic torque and prime mover torque. The electromagnetic torques are act in the opposite direction to the rotor rotation, and prime mover torque is in opposite direction to the electromagnetic torque. So if electromagnetic torque and the prime mover torques are constant, then this machine is operating under stable region. Stable region. So the torques are equal to P2 equal to rotor input power P2 equal to Tg omega. So torque, full load torque T equal to 180 by 2 pi ns SE2 square R2 by R2 square plus SX2 square. So in place of S, if one is placed, then TST equal to 180 by 2 pi ns E2 square R2 by R2 square plus X2. So that is the starting torque. So substitute S equal to 1, then you get a starting torque. and full load torque. So the full load torque is equal to, sorry, full load, no, maximum torque. Maximum torque, to get a maximum torque, derive the full load torque with respect to S and equating to the 0. From that R2 is equal to SX2. So to get a maximum torque, the rotor resistance must be equal to slip times of the rotor reactance. Slip times of the rotor reactance. Slip times of rotor reactance. Here, the maximum torque does not depends upon the rotor resistance. Maximum torque T max equal to 180 by 2 pi ns E2 square by 2x2. Sm proportional to R2 by x2. So maximum slip, that is R2 x2, Sm equal to R2 by x2, R2 by x2. The maximum slip depends upon the rotor resistance but not maximum torque. In starting torques depends upon the rotor resistance. Starting torques are proportional to rotor resistance. So starting torque by T maximum torque equal to 2A by A square plus 1. Here A is the R2 by x2. R2 by x2. Full load torque by 2 maximum torque equal to 2A SFL by A square plus SF. A is R2 by x2. So here see here torque slip characteristics. So in the torque slip characteristics, so when machine is starting, under starting condition machine S equal to 1 and NR equal to 0. S equal to 1 and NR equal to 0. So when S equal to 1, that means slips are higher values. Slips are higher values. When slips are higher value, Sx2 square term is greater. So when slips are higher, then torque slip characteristics are T proportional to 1 by S. T is inversely proportional to slip. The torque is inversely proportional to slip. So if torque is increasing, slips are decreasing. Slips are decreases. And at lower values of slip, torque slip characteristics are linear. Linear. So when T is proportional to S, there is a stable region. When torque slip characteristics are linear, then the machine is operating at stable condition. When torque slip characteristics are non-linear, that is a rectangular hyperbola, at higher slips, the slip characteristics are rectangular hyperbola. So in this condition, torque slip characteristics are rectangular hyperbola. So the machine is said to be operating under unstable region. The machine is operating under unstable region. Unstable region. So when slips are negative, then the machine is operating at generating mode. Slips are positive, the machine is operating at a braking condition. Greater than 1, then braking mode. Slips are between 0 to 1, motoring mode. Losses in machine, constant losses, variable losses. Hysteresis losses are Constant loss are two types. One is hysteresis and iron losses. The variable losses are copper losses only. No load test is so this variable loss are exist in the stator and rotor, but constant loss are existing only in the stator. So to find a no load, sorry, iron losses, there is a no load test is required. To find iron losses, no load test is required. And to find a to find a copper losses, block rotor test is required. Under no load test, the no load test is performed when the slips are between 0 to 1, and block rotor test is performed when the slips are equal to 1. When slip is equal to 1 means the rotor speed is 0. The slips are between 0 to 1 means the rotor is freely moving. So the by no load test we can find the R naught X naught, that is a shunt branch parameter. By the block rotor test we can find the R naught to X naught to, that is rotor parameters, and rotor parameter like rotor resistance and rotor reactances. Rotor resistance and rotor reactance. So this is about block rotor test. So some so there is a few bits about induction machine. So in a capacitor motor, the capacitor is connected in a series with the starting winding. In ceiling fan, generally a capacitor run motors are used. In shaded pole motors, the shading coil is normally made up of. So we know that the shading coil is a copper coil. The capacitor used on ceiling fans has a capacitor of few microfarads. That means very less capacitor is there. A shaded pole type motor is generally not used because it has a poor starting torque. So the shaded pole machines, the fifth point, a shaded pole type motor is generally not used because it has a poor starting torque. In a shaded pole type motor, the flux flows from unshaded region to shaded region, unshaded region to shaded region. For high speed and high starting torque, universal motor is preferred. For high speed and high starting torque, universal motors are used. The universal motors runs above 5000 to 10,000 rpm also. Single phase motors are generally fitted with bearings, pitch bearings, ball bearings. Yes. The running winding of a split phase induction motor has resistance and reactance. So in a running winding means main winding. The main winding resistance is low and reactance is high. But auxiliary winding is the reverse, that resistance is more and reactance is less. A capacitor motor has a starting torque then equal to rated slip phase induction motor. So a capacitor start induction machine gives the higher starting torque than slip phase induction motor. The starting torque and current taken by a Repulsion motor depends on brush positions. Depends on the brush positions. The advantage of propulsion motor over other single phase motor is higher efficiency. For the application demanding high speed of the order of 5000 rpm, a motor is suitable for universal motor. That means whenever the speeds are above the 5000 rpm, the suitable motor is a universal motor. For recorded players, motors are used. Hysteresis motors are used. The single phase motor suitable for single device is reluctance motor. So here 8 microfarad capacitor is used on a 200 watt capacitor motor. The value of capacitor to be used on 600 watt capacitor will be. So it is a direct rejection that in 200 8 microfarad, if it is 600 watt, then it is a 220 microfarad. The motor has a unsymmetrical rotor, so reluctance motor has an unsymmetrical rotor. It is important. Sixth one is the 16th one. In a reluctance motor, rotor structure is unsymmetrical. Any motor may be become hot when subjected to the overload. Yes. So 18th one, the power factor of an AC series motor can be improved by decreasing the inductance of field and armature winding. Field and armature winding. The speed torque axis of propulsion motor speed torque axis of propulsion induction motor resembles to that of DC motor, that is similar to the compound DC motor. 21 is a universal motor can be run set for AC supply and DC supply. And 21 20 in electrical clocks, synchronous motors are used because in electrical clocks the clock must be rotated with the same speed. So synchronous motors are used. Shaded pole motor has a low initial cost and a low maintenance cost. Commutator capacitor and centrifugal switch are not provided in case of motor. Power to weight ratio is highest in case of motor. In a shaded pole motor, the direction of rotation is from main pole to shaded pole. That means unshaded region to shaded region. Unshaded region to shaded region. A 22 gauge wire will be thinner as compared to 20 gauge wire. AC series motor of a large size are used in railway locomotives. So coming to 13th question, most of the single phase motors are designed to run in fractional horsepower range. 31. In capacitor motor, the current is in with that in the main winding. In a capacitor start motor, the auxiliary current and main currents are in quadrature. Auxiliary current and main currents are quadrature. Quadrature.